And good morning. How's everybody doing? Well, today I was feeling a little bit anxious and I wanted to get some work done. And I decided, you know what? I haven't done any kind of software development or, programming thing on our channel for a long while. I think it's almost been 2 years. And I decided, you know what? What the hey? Let's go ahead and do it. The sun's coming out here in California. Stuck at home, and it's probably going to be that way for a little while. And there's only so much you can do at the house. I've got a pile of laundry to go fold, but I think I'd rather go program first for a little bit before I go, go fold up some shirts. Except my wife would prefer that I do that first. Essentially, what we're going to do today is develop a Fishbowl plugin, and this is a last-minute request from yesterday from a customer. And we're just going to show you some of that development process of how we take a request and build it into Fishbowl, right? And if you're kind of curious about what a Fishbowl plugin is, no worries. We'll walk you through what that looks like. Some of our current plugins, solutions, we've done that already in the past, and then we go into the technical details. So if you don't want to stay for the technical details, that's not a problem. If you want to stay for the business introduction to plugins, go right ahead. That'll probably take about 5-10 minutes, and then we'll get into the code. Okay, let's do it. So today, instead of using my traditional virtual machine desktop thing, I'm using my laptop. So I got to be very, very careful not to disclose or show things that might be related to customers. So you might see me flip back and forth between the camera and the video. And if this goes on YouTube, I might even have to edit some parts out because I don't want to disclose anything for customers. But let's go ahead and show off what we mean by plugins. So let me pull up Fishbowl here. I've got it loaded. What I'm talking about is these components that get added to Fishbowl that extend functionality, right? So what plugins are within Fishbowl. There's mechanisms to add in the new modules and new buttons here at the top. And my company has decided to take that capability and make that functionality possible for our Fishbowl customers. And that adds a lot of functionality that maybe is not necessarily easily accessible, or for purposes of development, we want it to be inside of the Fishbowl product instead of outside of it, like an Android app or a desktop application or even a web app. Because look, they're already logging in to Fishbowl. They're already taking a look at what's going on. You don't have to use an extra license. You don't have to, have the IT resources to maintain the connections and the updates and things like that. So, the plugins are a really good way of adding some functionality, but they're a little bit cumbersome to write because we're writing them in Java instead of some more, well, for us, easier to develop platforms like WPF and HTML5 and things like that. But we can show you what we can do, and I've got a couple of solutions here that I can show off. The first one that we're going to have on our store is something called Mass Apply, and this allows us to make custom field changes rather quickly. So if you've got, let's say, 20 custom fields and the same information to update across all, maybe 5 custom fields, and you want to hit it against 13 or 10 sales order numbers, you can put your values here and then apply which target records to hit. So in this case, hopefully the demo gods like me today. I do too. And very easy, right? And you can imagine maybe updating scheduling dates or updating statuses and things like that. And you want to mass apply them. Boom, imported. Good. So let's take a look at those. And there it is, right? So it's a quick way for customers to essentially not have to deal with the custom field data import, which is part of Fishbowl, and creating the CSV and importing and things like that. That, let's say that takes 30 clicks, and this takes 10 clicks or 3 clicks actually. Very, very little. And those are the sort of things that I think really add value to the Fishbowl platform, We're not going to be in NetSuite. We're not going to be where you can modify the interface, like how NetSuite allows you to do that. I'm on a NetSuite project right now, and I noticed, the customers will change their forms and things like that. But Fishbowl's not NetSuite, nor do we want to be right now. It works really well for what we have, and if it was NetSuite, then we'd be paying, NetSuite prices. Anyway, so the point is, we can add buttons, we can add functionality, and that's the sort of thing that we've been doing for a long time now. I think we've got about 35 or so custom buttons and modules and components that we've extended Fishbowl over the years. We've been doing it for about 2.5 years now, almost going on 3. Our first one was like a browser that allowed you to print labels for Australia Post. That didn't work too well, honestly. Australia Post was really difficult to work with, and in the end, we had another product down in Australia called Starship It as an integration that was better as an outside application. But some workflows and some kind of functionalities are much easier to produce inside of Fishbowl. I've got another plugin that we can talk about is the quick order plugin. And let's make sure I configure this. Pricing rule, save. And we've got, of course, curse of the demo. Let's see, all items ordered in the last 30, not in the last 30 days. There we go, cool. So we've got other plugins where we got a little more complex functionality, right? Where we want to quickly order something from our customers. We want to see what they recently ordered. Let me turn down the music a little bit here, because just to add a little color to the stream. There we go. And the idea here is that maybe you're on the phone and you want to try to take an order quickly. You don't want to be faffing about clicking a lot of things in Fishbowl to see what the last price was and things like that. Although Fishbowl can do that pretty rather quickly, it's not that easy to see just almost like a saved search or an intelligent search of what they're looking for, right? We've added some smarts behind the screen to allow dynamic on-screen updates of things that take a long time. One of the things that takes a little bit of time is getting the pricing rule data, right? And calculating that. That takes about roughly 50 to 100 milliseconds. And that doesn't sound that bad, but a tenth of a second across 1,000 historical items, that is a long time, right? We're then waiting, if we were to write this code to wait for all the prices to get calculated before it goes on screen, then it's entirely possible that we'd be waiting almost a minute or more, depending on how many items a customer has. And people are impatient, man. It's the now generation. So we added the code here in this particular application to only display items, only calculate items that are on screen, that you're actually seeing visible on it. So in this case, I only have 3 items, but I think I can pop over to other ones. No, yeah, this Fishbowl database isn't that as big. So yeah, and that's a challenge of having demo databases, right? Because they're perfect in almost every way. There's really nothing you can do wrong in a demo database. But when you're working with customer systems and applications, the sizes, it's very important for us to develop for the performance at scale or at use. Anyway, let's go into the development, and let's talk about what our customer is looking to do. So this customer, I had a very long relationship with him. He's been really busy with the coronavirus and getting people ready to go to work from home. And I'm pretty sure this last minute request is related to that. I'm sure something happened. I didn't get a chance to ask him what had really happened, but he just sent me these emails and I replied to him. So let's kind of read through it. So he's asking, essentially what we'd like is a process that would allow us to generate Fishbowl sales orders if we supply a customer name and a list of products as an import. Note that this doesn't need to be fully automated. Do you have any ideas on how you could do this? Well, I told him, well, we could click a button and a pop-up would show in the sales order module. And then you select your customer, copy and paste the SKUs, quantities, and then it figures out the sales order import on, clicking OK. Then it replies, well, the use case is typically that we're sending the same SKU to several customers. Ideally, we'd like to import a list of customer names or multi-select in the plugin interface. So I say, OK, well, in that case, would you like to add multiple? We could add multiple customers to a list and a SKU list to send out. And then once both are ready to go, we import all of those into Fishbowl as separate sales orders? Question mark. Yep. I think what you described is exactly what we're looking for. Doesn't have to be a pretty interface, and it just required a few steps. That's okay. Any ideas of what kind of hours and or dollars would this take to develop? And I gave them a price, and I said, normally I wouldn't charge the billable hours for that. I would say, like, we're gonna, I need product ideas for our product store, store.israellopezconsulting.com, and it also gives me an opportunity to do this on the live stream. So let's give it a shot. Okay, so how do we make a Fishbowl plugin? Well, we use our favorite development tool, IntelliJ, and IntelliJ's been configured in this case for development for Java. Well, actually, I think you use Kotlin and other things for it too. But in this case, we've configured our IntelliJ with a bunch of extra components, namely JForm Designer, Maven, things like that. These are our development tools. And the idea is to design the logic and the UI in such a way where we can kind of have that kind of experience for the customer. So we're not going to finish today. This is just going to be like a part one of creating these workflows and procedures and things like that. I might do another new live stream tomorrow, later this week, but I just wanted to show a little bit of what that process would look like. And I think at the end you guys have a better idea of what it kind of takes to develop, because it does take time, and I don't want to make an interesting stream. I don't want to make this too boring. So we're going to try to go as far as it's interesting, and when it gets to the boring part, then we'll kind of end it there and call it a day and go do some more fun stuff here at the house. Okay, so development, how we're going to do this. So I've already prepared a lot of this. I prepared my POM, oops, I even forgot my group, com ILC Fishbowl, and we're going to call this batch order. That's good enough. And what's going to happen is we're going to do a couple things. We're going to have a button which allows us to display the actual button inside of Fishbowl, right? These guys. And then we're going to have a dialog which allows us to actually have the pop-up window, right? And then we're going to have logic that takes the data that's in the UI and does something with it, right? And we as a company, we've developed a number of development tools and solutions to kind of make this a lot easier for us, since we've built so many. And I think the first thing we're probably going to do is like a hello world style, where what does it take to actually show a button, and kind of go from there. So I've got a class. I extend the Fishbowl button plugin, and I've done some initial work to get my my properties that I need for development. And this is basically what I need, right? The module name, the plugin name, the text, and if I have an icon, I don't right now, I'll ask my wife to make an icon, and that's it. And then the last thing that we need to do is add an action listener that tells us, that gives the application a chance to say, when Fishbowl sends you a click command, what are you going to do with it, right? And we want to open a dialog and show it to the screen and go from there, right? But we don't have a dialog yet. That's why we don't have this little thing. I copied a lot of this from our example code. So let's go make a dialog. So we're going to call this batch order dialog, and this is JForm Designer. Everything's fine here. Border layout, I usually like 5 pixels, and then we'll click OK. Okay. Get a little bit of a warning. Unfortunately, haven't updated my JForm designer, or if I think if I did, I still have to run this with, I may have to run an older version. Fishbowl is still on Java 1.8, so that's JDK 8. Yeah, it's just old. It's just getting long in the tooth. I like for them to eventually consider updating that and go from there. But we work with what we got. So here's a form, right? So we're gonna play it, and just this is basically it, right? And what we're gonna do is this is all the code that gets generated behind it, and we're gonna actually bring it out. So batch order dialog, BPT, new batch order dialog, and null because I don't have anything here technically. We don't have a problem with that because I can't do both. So that's what we're gonna do is just get rid of one of these. Okay, that's fine. That works, and I think BPD show set visible true, BPD set modal true. So you can't mess with it too much. So what we're gonna do from here is go to our POM, go to the output folder that builds it, does everything's here, and then we're gonna use Maven to package it for us. And that should make a nice jar file. And jar files are what Fishbowl will load in the plugins folder while this compiles. Looks like it's done. And that's going to be under Fishbowl plugins. So I've got a number of ones here. Batch orders down here, right? And if I go ahead and shut down my client in Fishbowl, client bin client bat. I load these clients and Fishbowl servers from the bat files only because I get a little more control. If I throw errors or something funky happens, I can troubleshoot it from here. So this is really just the development process at work. So if you can imagine, before we figured out how to run some of this stuff outside of Fishbowl, which is the key part that makes this so fast, is any change that we had to do in these plugins, we have to go through this cycle of shut down, copy the file in, or really shut down, compile, overwrite let it overwrite the file, and then load new the new components, and then if whatever you were doing worked, you'd have to move on, or if it didn't work, retry again and do the whole cycle, and it could take minutes. And minutes for developers like way too long. We don't have that long of a attention span. Okay, so we've got a new button up there called batch order, right? And this is all it's going to do, right? So probably towards the end of this stream, we should have something usable, or at least the very least the skeleton of what is usable, right? And if that's the case, then that's fantastic. We've done a lot of good work. But and I don't even have I don't even have code to close these windows, so I gotta hit the X up there. Yep. Okay, so what we're gonna do is now minimize Fishbowl, minimize our folders here. Get back to the development environment. All right, let's do the fun part. Let's design some UI. So back to the brief. We've got customers on one side and we have SKUs on the other, and then an OK button. Okay. So here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking we had a panel. See, and this is the thing that's a problem, because I'm using the dark theme, and sometimes the dark theme is just not working well at all. Let's do grid bag. Should I do grid bag? I usually do. 2 columns, 1 row, 5 on the gap. Although I don't know why the background's white. It shouldn't be. Yeah, I don't know why we don't have a... There we go. That's probably right. Okay. So in terms of design, let me think about it. I probably want to have a label at the top for instructions. And we're going to say something like, let me think about it. Select or paste customers, and then select or paste SKUs. For batch orders. And I forgot about that. This is it's not going to word wrap, is it? I think what I have to do is put this in a text area instead. Selection mode. You know what? I'll deal with that later. I'll just make the window bigger. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to add more panels. That's not what I want. That's the one. Grow that. Grow that. There we go. There we go. Now that makes more sense. Then I want another panel in there. Border layout, and this one's probably fine, but then, and I don't know why it's still using white. I'll have to consider fixing that. We'll see. And what I'm going to do is add a border to this. Border. I usually like that one. I don't know why this is acting the way it is. Alright, well, we'll move on. And we'll give it a border called customers. Right? And we'll do the same thing over here. Border layout is fine. And we'll give it a border. Products. Okay. Now it's coming back to life. It's starting to make more sense here. Okay. And then what we'll do is add another panel. See, this is the thing. You panel upon panel upon panel. But all these are just design decisions. We might even change what the way this looks like. So I probably want a combo box here, and then a text area in the middle. Yes. And I think my scroll pane, I'm not naming any of these right now. I don't know if that's good practice or not, but these are not going to be, you know, we don't have to develop them as the same level as Fishbowl does. There we go. So I'm kind of thinking that we either type in customers here on the combo box, or we pick one, and then once we pick one, that adds it to the list. Or if we have a list of customers, we just paste a list of customers in, and we iterate over those and validate which ones are which. And then for the products, probably have something similar, although I don't know if I'll do a combo box. I'll probably do a text field. And that's probably good enough. And then I'll do a text area down here. Yeah, same thing. And then I'll tell my scroll pane to be visible always, right? So you kind of get what I'm thinking about in terms of designing the solution. So you pick your customer and then adds it to the list. You know what? I made an error. We're not going to be doing a text area. In fact, we need a table. So we're going to use an FB table. There we go. And a fishbowl table is useful in the fact that we'll have multiple, because we need columns, right? Because I'm already thinking, he didn't ask for it, but I'm already thinking that he wants a SKU and a quantity to go with it. And maybe at some point also maybe a description, he wants to see it, right? So let's see. Yeah, see, sometimes this is a bit weird. All right, let's go see how that looks like in Fishbowl. So here's what the development cycle would look like. I'll close all my Fishbowl windows. Those are closed. And then I hit run over here. And again, I'm making this really simple so that it looks good for the live stream, because I don't feel like being here all day. I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm actually standing at my desk here just to not have to sit all day. I like to go for a walk at some point. Okay, that's done. Let's go run Fishbowl real quick. And if you guys have questions about the music, we're actually using, I was thinking of, like, you know, I don't want the stream to be that quiet all the time. And I like some good music too, so I went and found coderadio.freecodecamp.org, and I've got that on a browser, and we're just listening to it just for some light background music. And I don't know any of the musicians, so that's cool. There we go. And we're getting the same functionality where it's like the yeah, it's weird. See, this is the thing. Java isn't that great sometimes. I think what's happening is that at certain minimums and maximums for preferred sizes, it's messing with the screen. But that's okay. We'll figure that out. One more thing, and just notice that I don't need a reload. I don't need a force to reload. There's nothing in there yet. We're not going to be reloading or setting to a sales order. Okay, let's see if we can fix some of that stuff. So, grid bag. That's that. Border. There we go. There we go. Okay, so I don't know what's going on with that. Okay, so we've got the customers, we've got the products. Now what I want to start doing is some basic dialog design and logic and things like that. And I actually don't want to keep testing through shutting down Fishbowl and running it over and over and over. So for the company, sometimes you just get mad at your tools and you go like, you know what, we've got to have a better way to do this. And one of the things we decided upon was writing out a testing mechanism that allows us to replicate what the Fishbowl client is providing for the button in the dialog, and instead just running it inside of Java, because this is all Java anyway, right? So we should be able to give it the same requests and responses for data and things like that, and not have to actually run Fishbowl to do it. And this is definitely not a way to get around Fishbowl at all. This is just writing Java and simulating Fishbowl, but using the Fishbowl database, using the Fishbowl API, right? Which we will be using. And that's effectively what the plugin's doing. It's not doing anything. We don't have any more functionality beyond what's already available through the Fishbowl API, other than small things like which record ID are you looking at, and can you refresh the window That's really it. So to do that, we're going to be running the test plugin. And what I want to do is actually just run the dialog. So very similar to the other one. We're going to say batch order dialog, batch order dialog null, bpd set modal true, bpd set visible false or true. Okay, so now instead of running this whole thing outside of Fishbowl, we're just going to run it, debug it inside of IntelliJ. And we get this pop up because Fishbowl uses the Jide product software, and I don't have the license. It's just embedded as part of Fishbowl, so I get to piggyback on it when I use the plugins, but I don't particularly have a license for it. And we have a pop-up, right? Now this looks way different than this, so kind of have to keep that in mind. But we're not doing anything special with the design. We're just, other than maybe the colors, it's just this is the Java look and feel, or Chrome that they call it, and it's, since we didn't set one, it's not exactly perfect. I think at some point I'll figure out how to make that work. Okay, so now I've got the dialog popping up just like how we have with Fishbowl, right? And what I want to do is start getting some code into this and get some logic going, so so that things work. But in order to do that, we need to provide the ILC Fishbowl plugin, which is a wrapper which allows us to mock and replace things like the real Fishbowl plugin versus the fake one or the simulated one, so that if we run it inside of Fishbowl or we run it outside of Fishbowl, the plugin itself doesn't know the difference. That's the neat thing about interfaces. So what I'm going to do is go to my dialog, and then I'm going to say, instead of frame owner, can I say null? No, I can't. So let's just continue. I don't know if it's going to be that important for us to provide the super, but we'll see. All right, let's test it. Test that. Okay, no errors. That's good. Close this. Stop that. Okay, so what we're gonna do is let's add some magic to it. So this one, we need to actually give it a plugin. There we go. So now it'll actually load it. So now this needs to load it. There we go. So now that's happy. So we've got it working in all three places. Now what I want to do is maybe get a, let's run a query. Let's just run a query. Company name. I'm doing this inside of the dialog. I probably don't want to do that here all the time, but so we're going to run the plugin. We're going to run a query. We're going to select name from company, and then on the results, we're going to get the first row. I'm assuming that there, and we're going to get string name. So we have the company name, and this is part of Fishbowl util GUI show dialog. Message dialog, company name, right? So if I debug this, everything works. It should work. Now the only thing that I need to double check is the company name, or the database. It's Fishbowl demo 2019-10. Fishbowl. Oh, yeah, that's wrong. 2019 10. Let's give it a shot. Fishbowl bikes. And what does it say? Fishbowl bikes. And just so that people don't believe I'm doing this as a fake out, Israel's bikes. Because why not? Oop. No, I don't want that. Yep. Okay, everything's working the way I thought it's going to work. Can't ask for any more. So now that I know that I've got access to the Fishbowl resources, you know, the database and the API this way, although we haven't tested the API, it'll be fine. I'm going to do a couple of things. I'm going to need a customer list. So I'm going to do private array list string. See, I'm a C# developer through and through, and I totally forget the different syntax and the keyboard shortcuts between IntelliJ and Visual Studio. Come on, there we go. And maybe when I load the screen, what I want to do is load customer names to this. Do I want to load customer names, or do I want to do anything else? I think loading customer names is fine. I don't want to make things too complex. So let's give it some code. So customer names, add all. Okay, so we're gonna have plugin dot run query, select name from customer where active flag equals 1. That's probably a good one. And then we're gonna stream to and this is the part where I want a map. That should do it, right? What is it not like? You know what? Java util list. Not. There we go. Yeah. There's another type of list. And now that I have that, I can say customer names, add all customer. You know what? Query. Query customer names. Perfect. Okay, so we've got some data. Now let's start kind of cleaning up our design for this. So I'm going to call this combo box CB customer names, and then I'm going to say I think a default model would be just fine. So CB customer names set model new default combo box model. I think we can just give it items, so customer names. What is this? What is it not like? Let's just want to array. Yeah, that's what I wanted. So maybe I should have done an array first, but I like lists. I'm coming from C# land. Everything's a list. Okay, so that should be good enough for us to test this. Let's give this a run. Cool. Now, if you notice, things aren't sorted. That's not necessarily Java's fault, but we should sort it. So I'll just throw that in the database. Order by name. Now, while we're working with this, let me do a quick Google search and see if we've got anything where we can do something like autocomplete combo box, Java autocomplete combo box. And that's honestly that's a lot of what programming is. It's like having an idea and wanting to make something a little easier, and balancing between spending time on Google, spending time trying to figure things out, or just leaving it as is. You know what? We should probably add a button here called for, like add. You don't just select it. Because if I just select this, that doesn't mean I want it. And WPF is actually a little easier. You just have to say set the property for the combo box to be something like I think is editable, and then you can just start typing and it auto completes for you. Nope. I don't think there's anything that I want to do just for the live stream. I might do that later. Just to go find some example code and apply that. I think part of a lot of programming is to say like, okay, I feel comfortable to try something even if it fails, right? Because I'll never be able to write this code perfect in one shot. It's always an iterative process. So you have to be very comfortable trying something and then not feeling discouraged to try something new and keep at it. Really just keep at it. And the kind of programming I do, it's definitely not at all some of the professional YouTubers who are helping people learn how to do the coding interviews online. I'm not going to be Facebook. I'm just solving a problem for a customer. Okay, so I've got that. What did I say earlier? I want a button, so I need to wrap this nest and JPanel. And this border layout, this one's going to be, I think I need to change this from border layout to grid bag layout. And I need this to have another column. Right, and I need this to not grow. I need this one to grow. And then I need a button right there. And then I need to change my layout. There we go, give a nice little separation. There we go, separation. Makes things feel a little nicer. So I'll make this the customer add button. Add. And then I'll add an action. Action listener. And we'll go to that. And we'll say whatever the combo box customer names selected, get selected item, string customer name. And then we'll do text area. So we call it TA, customer name list, customer names, TA, customer names, append, I think new line, customer name. All right, let's see if that works. there's that little issue where it's like it's already there. I think what I'll do, I'll stop it. I think what I'll do is if ta get text length equals 0, so there's nothing there already, just add the customer name. If there's stuff there already, then add a break line. Although to be fair, why am I doing it first that way? I don't need to do anything like that actually. Just add the break line afterwards. See, sometimes this is about programming where you go like, you know what, that's just way over engineered. You didn't need to make it that difficult. And just having experience kind of makes you question yourself a lot more. Cool. So this way we can find the exact customer name and then allow someone to, you know, throw this into a notepad. Right. We'll end it real quick. Debug it again. And then functionally, that should be the same. Right? Okay. All right, let's go do some more work. I think with what we learned over here with the products, we need to do the same thing. So we need to wrap that text field in a panel. Give that panel the grid bag layout. Add a column to it. Move our text field from one side to the other. Give the grid bag panel some spacing. Ungrow that. Ugh. Grow that. I think that's the problem. I think, let me see here. So I got this one and this one. Make that correct. No, not 50. There we go. Things are slightly easier. We finish the button thing. Fuck. That's not right. Minimum 50 pixels. Give me 10 pixels at least. 25. Pixels here. There we go. Now I can actually do what I wanted. There we go. Okay. So I run that. Oh, we've got that. Oh, Java. Java's so frustrating sometimes. Because you can, yeah. It's just honestly just different strategies, right? And it's not really. There we go. I think I can do this. Oh, you know what? It's because I didn't set the grow on both sides, so it's kind of an uneven grow. There we go. Now it knows what to do. Or not. All right, I think we'll have to leave it. Just continue. All right, let's debug it. Oh. Probably got another 10 minutes in me before I need to sit down, because standing up, I already stood up for the last hour before the live stream started. So that, cool. Oh, you know what? I do probably need to consider duplicate names. So ABC, that doesn't do anything. Okay, cool. So the next thing I'll do is probably get the table design working. For that, I'm going to look at my past projects real quick. So we have development environments like our own Git environment, Git repos, TeamCity, that sort of thing. These are things that developers know what they are. And we use them as our own private Google, basically. And that allows us to just take good ideas and roll with it, right? So we've got... So in order to use Fishbowl tables, FB tables, we have to give it a FB table model. And that'll allow us to design things a bit easier. So to do that, we're going to add another package here. Table models. Added table model class. And we're going to implement row data styled. There we go. We're going to implement all these methods. Boom. And to make my life a little easier, I'm going to copy a bunch of these imports because we need them. Oops. Did that not work? Okay. Guess I'll do them later. One second, I gotta reduce the blinds here a little bit. My window is right in front of the sun. There we go. I can see things a bit easier. Might make my camera a bit darker, but I don't have a choice right now. Okay, so we've got stuff. Call this column num, private static final FB table call quantity. That's really all I want to do, is just column a number and quantity. And then we need private static int call count, private static final. Actually, we don't need to do any of the styling. Static constructor. This is not always a good idea, but it works. Could provide it the class, the initial width. I don't need a tooltip. Editable. Not editable. False. True. I don't think we're sorting it right now. Call quantity. New. You know what? Everything's the same except the quantity column. And do I want to make the thing an integer, or were they going to do? Let's do big decimal. Big decimal? I don't think we need to. Let's just do integer. If we're wrong, then we fix it. And the data storage. So I don't, honestly, now this is the thing about this. I don't think we need anything beyond just public variables other than, you know, string, number, public, integer, quantity. And then we'll need to add a constructor, public item table model, string number, string quantity, or int quantity. This num equals num. This quantity equals quantity. And that's it. Now sometimes I'll use this with an actual data class, pass it, store it, and then reference it in these columns, but I don't really need to. The cell style I can ignore, the get ID I can ignore, but I have to have it the row. Now this is the part where I'll have to copy and paste. Can I copy and paste? No. Object, empty row, new object, column count. Yep. Row and a column number. Get column index, and then basically num, what my value is, row, call quantity, get column index equals quantity, return row. So that handles the display of it. And then set value at. Okay. So the ones I want to check is if the column is call quantity, get column index, if that matches, then what I want to do is quantity equals integer what was provided. There we go. Otherwise I don't want it. I don't want to edit the and then we have to consider deleting as well. I'll have to add a button for that too. See, these are the sort of things that you have to think about when you're developing this so that people can use it, so that you're not sending them like something that's half-baked or half-done. Yeah, so you have to constantly question yourself if this is the right design, or if people are going to use it, or if they're just going to come back to you with questions that you could have easily implemented while you were in code. And then I think we need to do the same thing for is cell editable, but this way we'll just return true. Everything else is not. Okay, so we've got a table model. Cool. Now we're going to use it. And the way that we do that, define another list. Private array list, item table model, item private FB table model, item table model, item table model. We get define those things, and now we got to use it. Now we got to map it. Oh yeah, that's right. So first things first is item table data equals new array list. Actually, you know what? It'll always be, so it'll always not need to be constructed. It'll always be there. It's just that this one, the table model, item table model equals new FB table model TBL items, or order items. There we go. It will make more sense. TBL order items. Oh, okay, column settings, yeah. about that. There we go. So I have to add a thing at the bottom here, public static FP table settings. Settings, add column, settings, add column, quantity. Okay, cool. That's happy. I think that's all I need to do. Oh, well, a couple more things. Table model. Set table data. Item table data. Yeah, there we go. Item table model. Load GUI settings. Okay. Okay, good enough. Now this should just give me a thing. Oh, well, I had it still running from last time. Let's write it again. Okay, so now we've got a column here, but it's not going to do anything, right? So what we could do is so I'm not going to validate much, but we'll give it a shot here. We're going to take the string item from the input screen. Text field, new product. And integer quantity 1. Right? And what we're going to do is add to our table model, item table data, add new item quantity. Cool. I think item table model, fire table data changed. Okay, I think that should be enough. What happened? Oh, I think I know what it is. I know exactly what it is. I don't add it to the base data set. Add row. There we go. Then it knows what to do. Okay. No, not that. I think we're pretty close to the end of the live stream because I just didn't want to do this too long. So I got a whole other day of stuff to do. There we go. Yeah. All right. Let's make the demo a little more impressive. Okay, and then we'll add some more products. DEF, add, ABC, add XYZ add. So probably the next thing I'd probably do for this is add an SKU lookup logic. Maybe add a description, and then maybe add a button for clear import. So maybe I'll put a button over here for clear and a button over here for OK to process and cancel. Just abandon everything here. So I might rename some of that. But I think in terms of like the design of what the customer wanted, let's go back to the brief that they gave us. Yeah, I feel pretty comfortable. Well, we're not done. We're definitely not done. Let's just let's do a full cycle, because this could break if we were doing this in Fishbowl. So we'll package this up as a version that can go into Fishbowl. And let's go take a look. All right. Almost there. Okay. Cool. Okay, not bad for an effort of just 1 hour. We'll see how far the development goes, and it'll probably have to get developed during hours where either I give this to a team member and they work on it, take it from here. We might see another live stream where I'm doing some more cleanup and final features that I'd like to add before we put this on the store. But if you're interested in plugins like this or solutions that are similar, or you have an idea, just send us an email. Go to our website, contact us, or if you have questions related to the YouTube, you can send us an email at youtube@israellopezconsulting.com. I think that's it for today. I feel pretty happy about that. And as always, hope you learned something, and talk to you guys soon. Cheers.